Welcome back to Whiteout Weekly as we are here on our ninth glorious victory week after the Penn State Nittany Lions demolished the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, crosstown foe in Beaver Stadium on Senior Day,
Shout
27
out
to
all the
6.
seniors as well.
Shout out all the seniors and even those who walked on Senior Day who aren't technically seniors but may be walking and leaving the program. So
Mm-hmm.
we thank you all for your services. A lot of news that came out of this one. Got a big week ahead, rivalry week.
It's
Penn
always tough
State
to
with
say
a
rivalry week.
rivalry week.
Tough. I can never say it right.
It's a tough one. Penn State's got a surprising Black Friday primetime matchup this week, which we'll get
Oh, it's on
into.
Black Friday too. I didn't even know that.
Black Friday. Black Friday at Ford Field. We'll get into that matchup and much more. But coming out of this Rutgers matchup, a couple key storylines. We had a Drew Allar injury. We have Nick Singleton continues to struggle, and Chop Robinson continues to be an absolute menace coming off the edge. But before that and more, I am Dave Barron, and I'm here with my, as always, esteemed co-host, Matty Martolucci. Matt, we're sitting at 9-2. Got a couple more question marks coming out of this one.
Mhm.
Offense still a little stagnant in the absence of Mike Yursich, but nonetheless, they get the win. They get the cover. Shout out Bo Pabula, the true cover king.
It really is. It's
But
amazing.
what are your thoughts? What are your concerns coming out of this matchup?
So the injury to Aller, I definitely was concerned because it looked like it was a hand, right?
Hand, upper body, a little bit of shoulder, a little bit of arm, a
Uh,
little bit of
yeah.
everything.
So that sort of, you know, shook me a little bit, but I see that he attempted to practice, or did he practice?
He was in full pads from what I gathered today. Don't know how many reps he took, if any,
This is
or
Tuesday,
made
by
any of
the way.
those throwing motions. Yeah, here recording on Tuesday. But everything that James Franklin has said and that the local Penn State media has gotten is that Drew Aller, the expectations that he definitely plays and will likely start on Friday against Michigan State. So doesn't indicate that that injury is too much of a concern or something that's that serious. So he should be good to go come Friday.
Yeah, and I know a New Year's Six Bowl would be awesome again, but if he has any kind of discomfort or, you know, hits the ground in a certain way and gets up kind of wobbly, get him out, put Bo in. Let's watch him operate for a little bit. And
Both throw.
yeah, let him. He threw
Yeah.
one pass the whole time he was in there. It's
Let
crazy.
him toss it. Come on.
But back to that Chop Robinson play.
Hmm.
He got around. He timed that snap so. I guess he had the count in his head because he timed that so perfectly. He got off the ball and didn't even need to use his hand to bend to get around the tackle. Makes the sack. All five of his tackles were defensive stops, according to PFF, which is a negative play for the offense. So he's rising to top 15, top 10 area, I would say, in the first round. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
being a little hype on him, but he's got all the goods.
yeah, for sure. Seeing a number of mocks. Obviously, they're all over the place depending on where you're getting them from. But seeing them as high as 12, 11, 20, definitely in that first round range. And if he continues to close out this year's campaign with a big game against Michigan State, and then like you said, a potential New Year's Six bowl,
Hmm.
expect him to definitely land in that first round and continue. Hasn't been a ton, but a nice little string of Penn State DNs to go in the first round. You had Adafe or Jason Owe now with the Ravens. Really, before that, it was maybe Aaron Mabin with the Jets slash Bills. So looking to continue
Yeah.
that success at that DN role coming out of Penn State.
How strange
And
that we haven't had one in the past couple of years.
But we could have a few coming off the board here. You got Chop, you got
Yeah.
Adisa, who's had a strong senior campaign, and you got Denai Dennis Sutton, who continues to produce, and I think with a starting role next year will take another leap, but that's next year's problem. But yeah, Chop has been an absolute menace coming off that edge.
Yeah, and denied Dennis Sutton. He's going to be a beast next year when he gets his full reps.
Mm-hmm.
Another player I want to shout out was one of my impact underclassmen, Kevin Winston Jr., starting at strong safety, 6 tackles, 4 solo, 2 defensive stops. They decided to throw at him once. He picked that pass off for his first collegiate interception. Awesome to see. And I think we got a guy in that strong safety spot. And we have a bunch of guys back there, but again, looking a little bit ahead to next year, it could be a Kevin Winston Jr. Zakee Wheatley combination back there, which I would be in love with. That would be my ultimate combination.
Yeah, he's been an absolute baller. And like you said, to see him get that first interception, that was a very cool moment for him to see. No, he's definitely stoked about that. Coaching staff was stoked.
Okay.
But since game 1 of this season, wasn't necessarily the starter or hasn't been consistently the starter, but when he's in there, he's producing and he's definitely separated himself from the rest of the pack. It's a loaded safety room. So to be the guy that steps out of there and is becoming the guy very quickly, lots of high praise and good news moving into the next couple of years to come for KJ Winston.
Sorry, I'm looking up. There it is. Who is our interception leader currently?
We go with Day Harding.
Yeah, you get a half point. Dom DeLuca also has 2 interceptions, both of them tied for first.
Double D.
We'll edge to DeLuca because he does have a pick 6.
Yeah, for sure.
That's crazy that he's up there. And then a bunch of guys have won after that. 2 more shout outs that I want to give. Another one to Dom DeLuca. His special teams play has been unreal this season, and there's a reason why he's wearing number 0. He definitely deserves it. And lastly, we have a whole segment called Around the Trenches, but I feel like we don't give enough love to our dudes in the trenches, the offensive line and the defensive line. Von Ellis, Kazai Izzard, Jordan Vanderberg, and Hakeem Beeman all contributed to stopping Kyle Monangai and Gavin Wimsat to 99 yards on the ground on 42 carries. So that's 2.4 yards per carry. And I got my crazy man notebook here. Coming into the game, Rutgers was only allowing 94.2 rushing yards per game. Penn State giving up 75 rushing yards per game. Like I just said, we held Rutgers to 99. We went for 234 and 3 touchdowns. So that's a 6-yard average carry for us and a 2.4-yard average carry for them. So it's safe to say we won the battle of the rushing defense. And with that, we're going to go around the trenches.
Trenches on 3. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Got regular gas. We run diesel premium only.
Voice crack on the snap.
Personal foul. 69. Offense. He was giving them the business. We played it there.
So starting off, so we mentioned our beloved Nittany Lions have a primetime Black Friday matchup. So kicking off Black Friday at noon Eastern, we have our always famed Iowa Hawkeyes, who are currently at, as of now, Tuesday night, number 16 in the most recent college football playoff rankings, and will most likely end up as Penn State's best win in the season. So take that how you want, but It's the facts. It'll be our best one in the season. Hawkeyes at 9-2, 6-2 in conference play.
That
Weird.
that sounds very familiar to another team.
Yeah, I think we're 9-2.
Yeah, and
yeah.
This week would mean a lot more if the conferences were aligned a little differently, more fairly. We would actually be playing for something.
Oh, you mean if we were in the West and didn't have to play Ohio State, Michigan every year? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we wouldn't have to be playing for something actually. But last year, and Iowa won, has already clinched it, right? The Big Ten swamp.
Yes, I believe they have enough of a lead in the West where they could falter in this one, but I know they definitely want a 10-win season.
As is tradition for Iowa.
As is tradition.
Swamp Kings.
Swamp Kings, Kings of the Swamp, going up against Nebraska, 5-6 overall, 3-5 in conference play. Matt Rule has been on a roller coaster of a season, year one in Lincoln, but knowing Matt Rule, he would definitely love to get to a bowl game, have some sort of momentum heading into next year as he starts to bring in his own recruiting cycle. Again, recording on Tuesday night, so current line for this one is Nebraska 2.5-point favorites. And Iowa, we did mention Iowa's in this matchup. So Matt, that over-under record just keeps going not up, but down. We got
you want me to write your Iowa under right now?
Yeah, lock it in. Pick number one.
Yep.
I'll mention it again just as a common courtesy, but I'm all over this. Over under 26.5.
That's insane.
26.
You're telling me these two teams can't score 4 touchdowns?
Nope.
Jesus.
They kicked off last week with a safety, Matt. They're not going over. The game was 3-2 at one point.
Is there a name for this electric matchup? Or
there is. It's the Heroes game. They are battling the Heroes game.
Okay.
They were battling for the Heroes trophy.
Like fallen soldiers, or?
Well, it started back in 1891.
Ooh.
This is the 54th matchup. They played a number of these matchups through the World War II era. So one would think that this is for the beloved servicemen and women during that time.
Yeah.
But actually, the trophy instead honors the hardworking citizens of both Nebraska and Iowa who exemplify what it means to be an everyday hero. So it's your mothers, your fathers, your brothers and sisters strapping up the lunch pail, working that blue collar union gig from 9 to 5. It's for those people.
Wow. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. The Heroes Trophy might be my third favorite trophy.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And that's what you find in the Big Ten West. And in this Heroes matchup, Nebraska leads the all-time series 30-20. And there's actually been 3 ties, which is definitely not surprising. Actually, it's surprising that there's not more ties than 3.
10-10-10.
Nebraska won last year's matchup 24-17. The other and final key storyline in this one is no, it's not Kirk Ferentz going for another 10-win season, another Big Ten title game berth, but it is his son, Brian Ferentz, who, as we've mentioned numerous times this season, has a contract incentive.
Oh, the points.
And more than likely, not just an incentive, but a requirement for Iowa to average 25 points per game over the course of the season.
Like a requirement or also get fired?
I believe so. In there, I assume that it would mean that you get fired.
How would you sign that?
I don't think that's in the bylaws, but we shall see. Iowa currently has 240 total points on the season for a whopping 21.8 points per game. So if my math is mathing for Brian Ferentz to meet that incentive, Iowa would have to throw up a 60 burger in this one, which we just know is not going to happen. So he will likely not meet that clause of the contract, but I will finish off 10-2 and have another trip to Indy as the Big Ten swamp representative.
I failed on my job of looking up coaches with point incentives, but a lot of them are just GPA, like over 2.9, the team having over 2.9. Not a lot of point ones. I think that was like a one in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Contract. So let's head to the Midwest to Minnesota as Wisconsin 6-5, 4-4 in conference play. Plays the Golden Gophers.
Wolfers.
5-6, 3-5 in conference play. So they play for Paul Bunyan's Axe, and I know for a fact that Michigan and Michigan State play for, I think it's just called the Paul Bunyan Trophy.
Mm-hmm.
This is so much cooler. Why would you want Paul? You have his axe. You have what makes Paul Bunyan, like the tool that makes him Paul Bunyan. Otherwise, he's just a bumbling giant walking around.
You want what the man wields.
Yes, exactly.
Himself.
This is such a cooler trophy. I don't know why. I mean, they don't really deserve it, Michigan, but and they don't deserve an axe that cool.
They would steal
it. So this will be the 134th meeting of the Battle of the Axe, which started toss on the old school film filter in 1890.
Ooh.
And this matchup all time is 62-62. And on top of that, it is 8 ties. So crazy matchup. Buckle in for Wisconsin, Minnesota for the Battle of the Axe. It's going to be a big one, especially because first-year head coach for Wisconsin, Luke Fickell, definitely wants to start that career with a winning record and a record above 500 in Big Ten play. While on the other side, Minnesota head coach PJ Fleck needs this game. He is definitely on the hot seat in my eyes. His only double-digit win season came in 2019. They went 10-2, shared the Big Ten West title, and ended the season ranked 10th after beating Auburn in the Outback Bowl. But since then, 3-4 in the COVID season, and we complain all the time about being, 10-win team. He's had back-to-back 8-win seasons, going to the Guaranteed Rate Bowl and our favorite, the Pinstripe Bowl last year.
He's rowing that boat right into a riptide.
Yeah, I think this is a game that he's coaching for his job right here.
Mm-hmm. Ski you ma.
Move along. Maryland, Rutgers, both 6-5 and 3-3 in the Big Ten. Don't have a trophy. They're still working on, something cool. A scarlet terrapin, probably.
Scarlet turtle.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I'd be to dig that. Turtle standing guard. So both with the same record after this game. One team's going to have somewhat of a disappointing season, finishing 6-6, while the other will have a somewhat successful season at 7-5 in the Big Ten East. So last year, Maryland dominated Rutgers, winning in College Park 37-0. The Terps are 7-4 all time against Rutgers. And despite the Big Ten alignment with the Pac-12 teams coming in, these teams will meet again next year. Rutgers has lost the last 2, but since 1920, again, old film, they have never lost 3 straight in the series since 1920. And cue clip of that Buffalo Bills guy from the 90s when they're playing the Patriots in the playoffs. Patriots beat him twice. He goes,
We're going to go into Jacksonville, and we're going to boat race them. We're going to boat race them in Pittsburgh, Sharpie it in. In New England, it's hard to be the team 3 times. It's hard to be the team 3 times.
one of my all-time favorite clips. Love it. I'm going to put it in there.
Just want to say, if you subscribe to Whiteout Weekly, you're not only getting Penn State and Big Ten content, you're also getting a free history lesson in this one.
Yeah, we're going 1890s, 1920s. We're all over the place here.
Keeping you down that history path, we take you to another Big Ten West toilet bowl matchup where we have the Indiana Hoosiers, who currently stand at 3-8, 1-7 in the Big Ten against the Purdue
3-8. To be honest,
Me too. And you got the Purdue Boilermakers, who are at 3-8, 2-6 in conference play, fighting for the Old Oaken Bucket.
Really?
Old Oaken Bucket. Might as well just be the bottom of the barrel Big Ten trophy. But,
oh my God.
This one stemmed from alumni from both schools felt that a bucket from an Indiana well was a suitable prize to the winner between these two flagship public universities within the great Hoosier State.
A bucket of water.
No. And the main storyline from this one is you got Ryan Walters trying to end year one at the helm at Purdue on a high note. And you got Tom Allen, who just has seemed to have been at Indiana for a century now. Could this be his last hurrah if the Hoosiers do lose this one and go to 3-9? It's a very tough school to win football games at when you have students who don't show up until, if anything, after halftime. Can't get any recruits. He's done an admirable job, but does this university move on, or are they just okay with 4-8 or 3-9 football?
I think they got to shake it up.
The test. Yeah, we'll see. But currently in this one, again, recording on Tuesday night, we got the Boilermakers at 3.5-point favorites in the Old Oaken Bucket matchup.
I just looked up Indiana's other trophy is against Michigan State. It's the old brass spittoon. The weirdest, ugliest trophy room ever.
You win both of those in the area. You got a good-looking trophy case.
It's crazy.
Not much else to celebrate there. But last one before we get into the game is we got the Illinois fighting Illini at the surprise story of the Big Ten. Definitely the Big Ten West. Definitely the Big Ten. Probably the country, if we're being honest, this year is the Northwestern Wildcats, who are, despite all the turmoil, despite Pat Fitzgerald getting fired to begin the season, despite having an interim head coach and players leaving the program, you got Northwestern going bowling at 6-5.
I can't believe that.
4-4 in the Big Ten. They got a chance to go 7-5 here, Matt.
In my brain, they've been 1-4, 1-5 like every week.
Yeah.
I guess because I lost on 2 bets on them, so I burned in my brain.
You got this intrastate matchup against the Illini, who are 5-6, 3-5 in the Big Ten, trying to go bowling. We got the Land of Lincoln Trophy, which began in 2009, and this trophy was decided on by fans of both schools. And hear me out. Here's the other options that the Land of Lincoln Trophy edged out. And the Land of Lincoln Trophy, it's modeled after, of course, former President Abraham Lincoln. It's an authentic hat. It edged out these other 3 options. We had the President's Trophy.
Don't like it.
Which would have been named after the 4 presidents that came from the great state of Indiana.
Yeah,
we have the Popcorn Bowl,
Ooh.
which of
Hang on.
course, is
Hang
the
on.
official state snack of Illinois.
How could I have forgotten?
Would have been a great
course.
popcorn bucket trophy. Great trophy option. And then you had the Graham Grange Fire Bell, which would have been named after two of the greatest players from each school. Last name's Graham and Grange. And of course, Fire Bell.
Which is
Why not? Fire Bell.
At first, I thought it said Fireball. I was like, whoa, okay.
Fire Bell.
They're getting after it.
And this trophy, like I said, was instated in 2009. It proceeded.
Wait. We've been going back to 1890, 1920. Now we're 2009?
Well, I'm going to take you back because they did have a former trophy that they played for from 1945 to 2008. They played for the Sweet Sioux Tomahawk, which was just an absolute fire trophy to play for.
That is
but it was retired in 2008 out of respect for Native American culture.
Okay.
That's the way that we're trending. So
good move. Good move by them. Good move by them. But still, that is the coolest trophy I've ever heard of.
Yeah, a Sweet Sioux Tomahawk.
Wow.
That is a sweet trophy. And
my rival, the axe.
Yeah. And for this matchup, we got the Illini currently sitting at a 5.5, almost a touchdown favorite in this one, but do not count out those Northwestern Wildcats. Head coach Ryan Braun getting the full-time gig, getting the extension based on the work that he's put in. Definitely well-earned, well-deserved. But that leads us into the biggest matchup of the Big Ten this weekend. Number 2, Ohio State at number 3, Michigan in Ann Arbor.
Finally, we get to see some other fans yell at each other and not yell at us. Amazing.
Amazing.
Spread I'm seeing. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing, Dave. 3.5. Michigan favorite. And juice 105.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to go down to 3 if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Minus 110. And then the over under 48.
Yep. Right on the money.
So, yep. You go first, their prediction. Because I got mine locked and loaded.
Yeah, so for this one, Michigan definitely struggled last week against Maryland. Did not blow them out.
Surprising.
By any means. 31-24 victory unscathed. Ohio State blew out Minnesota 37-3. So a couple different storylines heading in this one. Big one in here, obviously, you know what's going on with Michigan and the sign stealing scandal. Michigan has won the last 2 of this matchup, looking to make it 3 in a row.
Hard to beat a team 3 times.
Hard to beat a team 3 times. And I'm sticking with that story because something in me, in my heart of hearts, not really heart of hearts because I hate both these teams, but I don't think that Ryan Day goes 0-3 here. I know this one's in Ann Arbor. It's a Fox Big Noon kickoff. It's one I know most of America would say it should be a primetime matchup. Obviously, it's 2 versus 3, and you would want that. But I think Ohio State comes to play. He doesn't have a Lou Holtz bulletin board material here.
I have to ask, is there a 80-year-old coach from Michigan that's talking crap on Ohio State somewhere?
No, but maybe Lee Corso will put something out there
no.
and fill the void.
Lee, don't do it.
But I think Ohio State comes to play in this one. I know the over-unders, as we mentioned, is at 48. I think this one's going to be a high-scoring affair.
Really?
My prediction here is Ohio State wins this one 52-45.
Whoa.
I think Marvin Harrison Jr. has a big game. I think Travion Henderson has a big game, and these offenses go back and forth, defense out the window, and it's just a good old slobber knocker Big Ten East affair. But Ohio State, I think, wins this one ultimately at the end of the day.
Ooh, okay. We got
What you
opposite.
got?
We got opposite theories here.
Ooh.
I think both these teams are going to pound the rock.
Mm.
Travion Henderson back, pound the rock with him, make Michigan come up and defend. Then you got Maserati Marv running slants, running go routes. But we saw it firsthand. If Michigan wants to, they can go 7 linemen and just run the ball down your throat. And that saying that Joe Klatt said is never going to leave my brain, that Michigan is a boa constrictor. So I do agree that this is going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as 52 to 45, but I think it's going to be, back and forth, touchdown, down 4, down 3, and then it's going to come down to Kyle McCord getting rattled, as we've seen, and throwing an errant pass that gets intercepted. And Michigan, I think, comes away with the victory here.
Ooh.
In the big house.
All right.
But enough about those schools. We don't like them. Let's talk about our school. Penn State faces Michigan State, as Dave said, at Ford Field for the Battle of the Land Grant Trophy, which started back in, we're going back again, 1914. Spread on this game, I'm seeing 20.5 Penn State favored, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And then the over-under 43 on the dot as of Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So Sparty obviously having a tough season with a 4-7 record. They are 2-6 in the Big Ten, but they've won 2 of 3 of their last 3, with their one loss being that absolute beatdown against Ohio State. So these players aren't lying down, despite the circumstances, despite everything that's going on. They're coming to fight every Saturday, and honestly, that's very commendable. I thought this was going to be an easy last game of the season when the news broke at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a little tougher. So, Dave, your impact player for Michigan State.
Yeah, so, well, first of all, quick little fun fact about the land grant. So if you were to take the spread in this one, 20.5, and the over-under, so you got 20.5 and 43, that's 63.5, that still would be less than the weight of the land grant trophy.
Wow.
The land grant trophy weighs
That's a
a
big old
whopping
trophy.
72 pounds, man.
Oh,
72.
Jeez.
So just had to throw that little fun fact in there.
They're building that. We're like, oh, we made this way too.
This is way too big.
Can't stop now. I just gotta keep going.
Just keep going. Add more. But anyway, for Michigan State, impact players in this matchup, starting off at tight end, Malik Carr, Maliq, Malik, 6'6", 260 pounds, big boy.
Damn.
At the tight end spot.
That is
had a big week last week against the Hoosiers. 7 catches, 119 yards, 2 tutties. Was also named Big Ten Player of the Week. So definitely someone to keep an eye out for.
Yes.
I don't think he's one that this defense will struggle with, but definitely someone to keep an eye out for this week. But I think Manny Diaz and crew will have a good game plan, a good scheme against him, but definitely someone to pay close attention to.
6'6", no joke.
There's no joke.
No joke.
Can't teach size. He's definitely got it.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, we have the brother tandem, the Mangum brothers. We got Jaron and Jaden. So first off, we got Jaron at the running back spot, 6'2", 235 pounds, stepped in for Nate Carter, who I believe exited that game. Not sure if it was an injury concern or just a benching. I believe it was an injury. So
I didn't see that.
So we will see as the week progresses what his status is for this one, especially with it being a short week with the Friday matchup.
Could be big.
Jaron, not any type of numbers that'll pop off the page, but was definitely heavily involved when he got in. 12 carries, 27 yards. So again, nothing to write home about, but 5 catches, 33 yards. So someone to keep an eye on. And then his brother, definitely more so of an impact on the defensive end, Jaden Mangum at the cornerback spot. 4 interceptions on the season and 7 total passes defensed at 6'2", 185 pounds. Definitely one of the main bright spots of this Michigan State defense, who isn't that great of a defense, but at the secondary spot and as a defense as a whole, he's definitely one of the key guys to look out for.
Yeah, that is an NFL size frame right there. 6'2", 185, 4 picks. So he's ball hawk too. I'm going to go on the offensive side. And correct me if I pronounce this wrong. Wide receiver Montori Foster Jr.
A+ pronunciation. A+.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
So in November, he has been absolutely destroying it. And this is with a 1-catch, 11-yard performance against Ohio State. So he has 12 catches for 198 yards and 2 touchdowns in the month of November. That's good for 16.5 yards per catch. And I know Lockdown U has been on its game, locking down literally everything. But like you said, they do have that big boy tight end as well as this wide receiver. And I was looking up his stats and I saw something weird. And I have a little question, kind of a riddle, more of a question. It's a question, it's not a riddle. What normally happens when a team like Penn State, a high-powered offense or a high-powered team like Penn State faces an inferior opponent?
You sure it's not a riddle?
I'm positive it's a question. There's an answer.
They crumble at the hands of defeat.
They do that. But they also run trick plays, my friend. And he has a pass this year.
Ooh.
They have a trick play up their sleeve. And what week to pull it out than the final week of the season against Penn State. So watch out for that. I'm calling for a Montori Foster Jr. pass.
Last game of the season, no reason to hold back.
That's a bold prediction. Let's get away from the Sparties. I don't want to talk about them anymore. Let's go into some Penn State mismatches that we're going to take advantage of.
Yeah, so for me, less of really a mismatch and more of hey, this would be a cool story and also an expectation of what's to come. But I'm expecting a king-sized homecoming as we have Kaylin and Kobe, the brothers, who went to high school in Detroit at Cass Technical High School. So they'll be playing at Ford Field in Detroit. So very cool story here. Sure, they'll have a ton of friends and family in the stands.
It's sick that they're playing at Ford Field too. So yeah, they can get more tickets and a lot more family can come.
Yeah, so NFL environment. Kobe, who has had a big season, definitely has taken that middle linebacker spot by storm away from Tyler Elsdon. Had a big week last week against Rutgers with 10 total tackles. Should continue to be a force with Sparty's lack of a running game and really lack of an offense for that matter. So expect him to have some additional big-time plays in this one.
Yeah, he took the words out of my mouth. We really haven't talked about him much on the podcast, but he is having a stellar season. Absolutely stellar season as the MLB.
Big time year. Yep. And then for Kaylin, who doesn't, again, like we mentioned, hasn't really had the stats as he's really just shut down half the field for most of the year. But going up against a true freshman quarterback in Caton Hauser, who did throw 2 picks last week against IU, has thrown 4 picks on the season in limited action. Really looking for a moment here where Kalen baits the freshman QB into throwing a ill-advised pass of that nature. But I expect Kalen to have a big time pick
backing
here,
off a hitch a little bit, and then he throws it, bang,
backing off a hitch and making a big time play.
pick six.
Like I mentioned, in front of his friends and family. But I think the Kings
So
can
awesome.
show up big time. I think it's an easy narrative to write, but I think I would expect that both of these guys show up in a big way in this matchup.
Yeah, that would be so awesome if that happened. Pick six from Cannon King, or a sack fumble from Kobe King.
Yeah.
Either way. My mismatch is going to be sort of, you mentioned Jaden Mangum, who is definitely a force to be reckoned with. I think he's a future first round pick for sure. But overall, Michigan State, I keep getting Michigan and Michigan State confused, and it's annoying me. Michigan State, their pass defense, averaging or allowing over 242 yards per game. So if there's any game that we can find a wide receiver to, it's this game, because your guy, Jaden, is going to match up with Keandre Lambert-Smith.
Mhm.
And do we have an update on Trey Wallace, his injury?
No update. My expectation would be that he'd be out this week as well. So again, another week where you have an opportunity for a wide receiver to step up, and this room's continue to be a question mark. So would love to have Trey Wallace in there, but again, leaves the door open for more opportunity for someone to step up.
And speaking of the wide receiver room, last week, that throw to Dante Cephas in the end zone, you jump up and grab the ball.
Yeah,
like he was waiting for that pass he had the other week where it was, fading into his hand, but jump up and grab that thing. Come on, dude. Keaton Saunders, his snap count's been lower than low. Like, what's going on with him?
Yeah, I think his snap count in the Rutgers matchup was 4 or 5 on the offensive side of the ball. And as we know, he's lost special teams duties. I mean, to no fault of his own, but Daquan Hardy's just been a game breaker at the punt returner spot. So he's lost that opportunity as well. So don't know if it's something that he's not getting done on the practice field or whatever the case may be. But I know myself, but definitely we and a lot of Penn State fans expect a lot out of Caden this year. He's shown some glimpses. He had that touchdown catch in garbage time against Ohio State, but he showed up in some big moments. But to see a snap count, especially with a wide receiver room that's so much in question, to be that low in a matchup against Rutgers is definitely concerning. Yeah. And we're still just sitting here just waiting for someone to step up, especially with a guy like KLS, who is the leader of that room. But let's be honest, over the last couple of weeks, hasn't really been able to get that separation and hasn't been able to make those big time plays that we were seeing in the beginning of the year. So a lot of work to be had and looking for some guys to step up in these last couple games here to build some momentum heading into next season.
Yeah, and last name I want to say in that group, Omari Evans. That catch last week was unreal.
Big time.
So, yeah, I'm just hoping we have, obviously, a controlled game plan, but I want to feed these young players and see who steps up as a number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah.
And finally, the Big Ten betting bonanza is all but decided. And we will get into the greatest betting competition on planet Earth right up next. It is week 12 of the Big Ten betting bonanza, second to last week, as we have our Big Ten championship special coming up. When that happens next week, right? Or is it a bye week between?
I think there's a bye week in between.
Okay. So in 2 weeks, sorry. And yeah, like I said before the break, Dave has taken this thing over. I don't know if you remember last podcast, you took Northwestern money line, and I warned you. I was like, I'd done this before. Took them plus 14. They screwed me. Guess what? They win straight up. Straight up victory for Northwestern. That's a +7. He also hits his favorite bet of all time, the Iowa Rutgers under 29.5. That hits. It was 9-0 at halftime. As soon as I saw that, I knew you were going to win. And then the under, right? You had the under in 46 in Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
So a perfect 3-0 record. A single week record for the Big Ten betting bonanza. 9 points. Absolutely incredible.
Woo!
The Croatian Bear is 19-14 at betting straight up Big Ten games. That is an incredible record for even a pro bettor. And he has 29 bonanza points, meaning he's up tons of units. I'll calculate them later and show them on the bottom. But the kid's an absolute killer. Follow his picks this week. Fade mine. I went 1-2 last week. Had Penn State money line. Sadly, had to take it. I also had the Nebraska money line, which I hated that. That was just awful. Lost that bet. 13-10. Oh, this is back to week 11, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 14-18-1 with 16 bonanza points to Dave's 29. Stick a fork in it. It's done. I'll be sending that dumbbell that's sitting in my apartment in Philadelphia to Dave. That should be a task in and of itself. But I'm not giving up yet. Swing for the fences. We got this week, Big Ten Championship special. Next week. But Dave, let's kick it off with you.
Let's do it.
Week number 12.
First off, I do stand corrected. The Big Ten title game is actually next Saturday, December 2nd. So there is no bye week. So we'll get to have all that fun next weekend.
Great. I need a week off. Need a week off to gather myself to beat you in this.
First pick, wasn't joking earlier.
Yeah, I've written down.
Iowa, Nebraska under 26.5. Not much more to be said about that one. Give me it all day long.
Yep. I'm going to roll with, like I said, PJ Fleck absolutely needs to win this game. He's 5-6. If he gets that 6th win, he's bowl eligible, possibly safe from being fired. So I'm going to take Minnesota money line plus 114.
Okay. Gophers.
Are you seeing the same thing?
Yep. All right. For pick number
I just
2.
think it's a desperate situation. I'm hungry to run faster. He needs this win.
I agree. I had that on my board as well. Snagged it for me, but let you have that one. Pick number 2. I'm going to continue to ride the hot hand with the Wildcat train. Not going to be bold enough to take the money line here, but I think this will be a lower scoring affair in a tight matchup. I'm going to take the Northwestern Wildcats plus 5.5 at the Fighting Illini.
So that's what I was saying. It's a very weird spread.
Very weird spread.
With the Fighting Illini minus 5.5 against the Northwestern team that's clicking right now.
Mm-hmm.
Clicking. So I'm really tempted to take Fighting Illini minus 5.5, but that's only 1 point, and I need home runs. So here's a fun fact for you. The underdog in Michigan and Ohio State is 6-1 against the spread with 3 straight up wins over the last 4. So I'm taking your theory. I totally mess with you through that way. Think I'm taking Michigan, Ohio State money line.
Oh,
3.
let's go.
That was a look this way, throw that way. I think I'm taking Michigan. I'm hyping them up with their 7 linemen. No, I think Ohio State wins this game.
Oh, shit.
Straight up 140.
Damn. All right.
Didn't see that coming, huh?
No, not at all. Holy hell.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Maserati mob goes off. And that's
Yeah.
going to be the game breaker, as well as Kate Stover.
Yeah, no, that's a good pick. I like that. All right. Last pick. I am going to go with the Maryland Terps, who are in Piscataway. I-95 matchup here, but I think the Terps get it done. This one's pretty much a pick 'em. Again, as we continue to mention, recording on Tuesday night, I think this line will get closer and closer to a pick 'em. Beat the team 3 times.
They're going to beat the team 3 times? I don't think
yes.
So.
I'm taking the Terps minus 1.5 at the Scarlet Knights.
Great pick. Yeah, I agree. I think that's going to become a pick 'em by the time this comes out. All right, that was on my board. All right. So, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because I don't know if I have the up-to-date odds. But that Black Friday, the noon game, Iowa, number 16, underdogs? Question mark. Plus 2.5 against Nebraska. 9-2. That doesn't make any sense. So they're literally begging me to take Nebraska or Iowa, excuse me. And I'm having such a sucker season that I'm sucked in, taking Iowa money line plus 110.
Oh,
again, fade my bets. Fade my bets if you want to make money. I'm swinging for the fences.
Godspeed, brother.
All plus 3s right there. Just about your 1 week. I'm out of control. You had your last pick? Oh, yeah, it's Maryland.
Yeah.
Well, that will do it for the last regular season episode of Whiteout Weekly. We had another awesome year doing this. We love podcasting, love talking Penn State football. And like I always say, we are going to do this until the wheels fall off. We could talk Penn State football for hundreds and hundreds of years. So get used to it. Thank you so much for supporting us wherever you do, however you do it. From the bottom of our hearts, we truly thank you. It's been another incredible season. Not over yet, but we will see you next week, hopefully after a Spartan victory and New Year's 6 bowl bid. Let's go State.
New Year's 6. That's what James Franklin does, baby.
New Year's 6 and 10 wins. That's what Franklin does.
Lock it up. Thanks, guys.
See ya.